Love is often described as a journey, an uncharted voyage across the vast landscapes of human connection. When a man loves you, his heart becomes his compass, guiding him not by logic or calculation, but by the quiet, unerring pull of something deeper. It is a force that transcends the intellect, a calling that cannot be denied or explained away by reason. The heart, when awakened by love, knows its direction as surely as the river knows the sea, as naturally as the flower turns toward the sun. This compass of the heart does not point to a destination that can be found on any map, for love is not about arriving, it is about moving, growing, and evolving together. When a man loves you, his actions and intentions begin to align with an invisible North Star, one that guides him to nurture, protect, and honor the bond you share. His journey becomes one of shared exploration, where the discovery of your soul's depths becomes as vital as the understanding of his own. But a compass does not guarantee a straight path. There will be detours, storms, and moments when the way forward seems unclear. Love does not eliminate challenges, it transforms the way they are faced. A man guided by the compass of his heart will not retreat when the road is difficult. Instead, he will find the courage to navigate through the unknown, trusting that love will illuminate the way even in darkness. This trust is not blind, it is rooted in a profound awareness of the connection he feels with you. It is an awareness that reminds him, even in moments of doubt, that his direction remains true. The compass of love is not a tool of control or possession. It does not lead him to seek ownership of your heart, but rather to honor its autonomy. Just as a compass respects the pull of the earth's magnetic field, so too does love respect the individuality of the one it cherishes. When a man loves you, his compass does not guide him to hold you tightly, but to walk beside you freely. It draws him toward the delicate balance of giving and receiving, where love flourishes in mutual respect and shared purpose. This inner compass does not demand perfection. A man who loves you will falter at times, as all humans do. He may lose his way momentarily, swayed by the noise of the world or the weight of his own fears. Yet the compass remains steadfast, always ready to guide him back to the truth of his love. It is in these moments of returning, of realignment, that the depth of his love is revealed. Ultimately, when a man loves you, his heart becomes a guide, not just for him, but for you as well. Together you become fellow travelers, drawn forward by the magnetic pull of love's enduring promise, a promise that no matter how far you wander, the compass will always lead you home. Love, in its truest form, exists beyond the confines of language. Words, though beautiful and poetic, can only skim the surface of what love truly means. When a man loves you, his feelings go beyond declarations and promises, they are etched into his actions, the silent yet profound ways he shows his devotion. Love, after all, is not just something to be spoken, but something to be lived. A man who loves you may say the words, "I love you," but the true weight of those words lies in what he does. It is in the moments when he shows up, unprompted, because he knows you need him. It is in the way he listens, not just to respond, but to understand. His actions speak of a deeper connection, one that cannot be fully articulated, for love thrives in the unsaid. When a man loves you, his care is evident in the way he seeks to make your life better, whether it's through grand gestures or the smallest acts of kindness. These actions may not always be dramatic or obvious. They often live in the everyday moments, making sure you're warm on a cold day, remembering the little details that bring you joy, or offering his support when you're burdened with stress. It's not about perfection or grandiosity, it's about intention. Love, when genuine, is an ongoing practice of showing up, of being present, even when life becomes messy or uncertain. When a man loves you, his actions align with his words, creating a harmony that builds trust. Words alone can feel hollow, but when paired with consistent effort, they become the foundation of a bond that feels safe and enduring. It is easy to make promises in the heat of emotion, but love reveals itself in the follow-through, how he acts when the initial excitement fades, when challenges arise, and when life tests his commitment. True love is also selfless in its expression. A man who loves you doesn't act out of obligation or expectation. His gestures aren't transactional, they are born from a desire to see you happy and at peace. It is in the way he sacrifices his comfort without a second thought, in the way he supports your dreams as if they were his own. His actions reflect a profound understanding that love is about giving freely, not for what he might receive in return, but because your joy and well-being are as important to him as his own. Yet his actions also honor balance. Love is not about losing oneself entirely, but about building a life together where both individuals thrive. A man who loves you shows this in the way he encourages you to grow, to embrace your individuality, even as he stands beside you. His actions do not bind you, they liberate you to become the fullest version of yourself, knowing you are cherished as you are. In the end, love that is lived through action speaks a language far more eloquent than words. It is steady, enduring, and unmistakable, a quiet yet powerful force that reminds you every day that you are loved. To love is to risk. It is to step into the unknown, to unearth parts of ourselves that we often keep hidden, and to offer them to another, trusting they will not be turned away. When a man loves you, his journey is marked by courage, specifically the courage of vulnerability. Love requires him to dismantle walls he has spent a lifetime building, to remove the armor that shields his heart, and to stand exposed in all his humanity. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the truest form of strength. For a man, it often means confronting fears of rejection, inadequacy, or failure, things society may have conditioned him to suppress or ignore. Yet when he loves you, he begins to understand that true connection can only come when these fears are faced, not avoided. He chooses to show you the parts of himself that are imperfect, messy, or uncertain, because love cannot flourish behind a facade. It grows in the raw, unpolished truth of who we are. When a man loves you, his vulnerability is seen in how he lets you into his inner world. He shares not just his joys, but his struggles, his doubts, and his dreams. It may take time, for vulnerability is not immediate, it unfolds slowly, in layers as trust deepens. He allows himself to be seen in moments of uncertainty, seeking comfort in your presence instead of hiding behind pride or silence. In doing so, he reveals his trust in you, a trust that says, "I believe you will hold my heart with care." This courage of vulnerability also shows in his willingness to let go of control. To love is to accept that the outcome is never guaranteed, that the other person has their own journey and choices. A man who loves you does not try to possess or dominate. Instead, he embraces the delicate balance of love or willingness to give freely without knowing where it will lead. This surrender, this openness to the unpredictable nature of love, is perhaps the greatest act of bravery. Vulnerability also manifests in his actions, in how he shows up even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. It takes courage to admit when he's wrong, to apologize without defensiveness, and to seek growth within himself for the sake of the relationship. Love demands self-awareness, and a man who loves you demonstrates this by facing his shortcomings with humility and a commitment to do better. Yet vulnerability is not one-sided. His courage invites yours, creating a safe space for mutual openness. Together you build a connection that transcends surface-level affection, one rooted in authenticity and trust. In these shared moments of vulnerability, love becomes transformative. It is no longer just a feeling, it is an experience of being fully known and fully accepted. In the end, the courage of vulnerability is the foundation of love. It is the strength to stand bare before another, trusting that love's embrace will not diminish but affirm who you are. A man who loves you in this way does not shield himself, he chooses to risk, knowing the reward is a bond unlike any other. Love has a way of revealing truths that we often cannot see on our own. When a man loves you, he becomes a mirror, reflecting not only the beauty and light within you, but also the vulnerabilities and complexities you might hesitate to acknowledge. This mirror is not a static reflection, it is dynamic, ever-changing as love evolves and deepens. In his gaze, his actions, and his words, you begin to see yourself in ways that challenge, uplift, and transform you. When a man loves you, his admiration becomes a lens through which you can view yourself differently. He sees qualities in you that you may overlook or dismiss, strength in moments of doubt, grace in times of difficulty, and beauty that radiates far beyond appearances. His love affirms your worth in ways that are not dependent on achievements or perfection. This reflection invites you to embrace parts of yourself you may have long ignored, showing you that you are deserving of love, just as you are. But the mirror of love is not always easy to look into. True love reflects not only your best qualities but also the shadows within you. When a man loves you, he does not shy away from the parts of you that are imperfect or scarred. Instead, he holds space for them with compassion, gently urging you to confront what you might rather hide. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is also profoundly healing. His love shows you that your flaws do not diminish your worth, they are simply part of the story that makes you whole. In this way, love as a mirror is both a gift and a responsibility. A man who loves you deeply does not seek to define or change you, rather, he offers a reflection that helps you better understand yourself. Through his love, you are encouraged to grow, not to meet his expectations, but to become more aligned with your truest self. His belief in you can inspire a similar belief within yourself, creating a cycle of growth and self-discovery that strengthens your bond. At the same time, love as a mirror works in both directions. Just as he reflects parts of you, you also become a mirror for him. When he looks into your eyes, he sees his own vulnerability, strength, and capacity for love. Together, you become each other's reflection, revealing truths that might otherwise remain hidden. This mutual exchange deepens the connection between you, transforming love from a passive emotion into an active force that shapes and enriches both of your lives. Ultimately, love as a mirror is not about perfection or idealization. It is about seeing and being seen in all your humanity, with all its beauty and complexity. When a man loves you, he becomes a reflection of the love and light already within you, reminding you that you are both the giver and the receiver of a love that transcends the self. Through him, you come to understand that love's greatest gift is not to complete you, but to reveal the wholeness that was always there. Time is the most precious resource we have, a fleeting currency we spend without the ability to replenish. When a man loves you, time becomes his chosen language of love. It is not in mere words or grand promises, but in the moments he dedicates to you, the hours carved out of his life to be fully present, that his love is truly expressed in love. When a man loves you, he does not simply find time for you, he creates it. Amid the busyness of life, with its endless demands and distractions, his willingness to prioritize you speaks volumes. His presence becomes a statement: you matter. This moment with you is more important than anything else. Whether it's a quiet evening spent together, a call to check in during a hectic day, or a spontaneous gesture to make you smile, these offerings of time show his commitment in ways words alone cannot. But time as the language of love is not just about being physically present. It is about the quality of that presence. A man who loves you gives you not just his hours, but his attention, his focus, and his emotional availability. He listens deeply, not just to your words, but to the feelings behind them. He notices the little things, your habits, your joys, and your worries, and he responds with care. His time is not a duty or obligation, but a gift, freely given, because he values the connection you share. In love, time also becomes a testament to patience. When a man loves you, he understands that relationships are not built in a day, but require a steady investment over time. He does not rush you or the relationship. Instead, he allows it to unfold naturally, with respect for its unique rhythm. In moments of conflict or uncertainty, he remains present, giving time to understanding and resolution, rather than walking away. This patience is a quiet but powerful way of saying, "I am here, and I will stay." Time as the language of love is also expressed in his willingness to share the milestones of life with you. He sees the future as something to be shaped together, and he includes you in his dreams and plans. The time you spend together becomes the foundation for a shared story, one that grows richer with each passing day. Even in the face of life's inevitable challenges, his commitment to spending time with you remains steadfast, a constant that anchors your bond. Ultimately, when a man loves you, his time is not measured by the clock, but by the depth of his presence. It is in the way he chooses to spend the fleeting moments of his life with you, creating memories that transcend time itself. Through his time, he shows that love is not just a feeling, but a series of deliberate acts, a language spoken not in words, but in the minutes and hours that say, "You are worth it." Love often finds its truest expression not in grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but in the quiet, ordinary moments of life. When a man loves you, he does not only celebrate the milestones or the extraordinary days he finds meaning and beauty in the routine, the mundane, and the seemingly insignificant. This is the essence of love and the sacred ordinary, where the everyday becomes infused with purpose and connection, transforming the common into something profound. When a man loves you, the ordinary moments you share take on a new depth. A simple walk together, the act of preparing a meal side by side, or even the silence shared over morning coffee becomes a thread in the tapestry of your bond. These moments, though seemingly small, are rich with unspoken affection. They are where love shows its face most authentically unadorned, honest, and quietly profound. In his presence, the routines of life are no longer just chores or necessities, they become opportunities for connection and care. This sacredness is found in the way he values the time spent together, no matter how uneventful it might seem. It's not about constant excitement or entertainment, it's about the joy of simply being with you. Folding laundry, running errands, or even sitting in comfortable silence becomes meaningful because you are doing it together. These moments are not fillers between big events, they are the foundation of a love that is steady, enduring, and real. A love in the ordinary is also a reflection of commitment. A man who loves you understands that life is not a series of perfect cinematic scenes. It is messy, imperfect, and often repetitive. Yet he embraces this reality and chooses to show up for it every day. He is there not only for the celebrations, but also for the mornings when you're too tired to smile, the evenings when the day's stress weighs heavy, and the quiet nights when there is nothing to say but much to feel. His presence in these moments speaks to a love that is grounded and unwavering. Through the sacred ordinary, love also reveals its transformative power. When a man loves you, he shows you that joy can be found in the smallest things: a shared laugh, a knowing glance, or the warmth of his hand in yours. His appreciation for these moments invites you to slow down and see the beauty in them too. Together you learn that love is not about chasing grand experiences, but about finding the extraordinary within the everyday. This type of love, rooted in the ordinary, creates a sense of home, a place of safety, comfort, and belonging. It is not flashy or fleeting, it is steady and enduring. It reminds you that life's most meaningful experiences are often the simplest ones, shared with someone who truly sees and cherishes you. When a man loves you in this way, the ordinary becomes sacred, and you realize that love's greatest gift is its ability to make the simplest of moments unforgettable. Love often speaks loudest in its silences, in the quiet gestures and unspoken understandings that build the foundation of a relationship. When a man loves you, his love is not just in the words he says, but in the silent promises he makes through his actions and presence. These promises, though unvoiced, are deeply felt, carrying a weight that transcends language. It's in the way he listens, truly listens, when you speak, his eyes meeting yours, his attention unwavering. Without saying a word, he promises to honor your thoughts, feelings, and the essence of who you are. It's in the way he reaches for your hand, not out of habit, but as a reassurance that he's there, steady and unwavering. These silent promises are woven into the mundane rhythms of life. They're in the consistency of his care, the way he remembers the details you've shared, or how he adjusts his pace to match yours, whether metaphorically or literally. He doesn't have to declare, "I'll always support you," because his quiet actions already convey it. Even in moments of conflict or uncertainty, his silent promises endure. His willingness to stay, to work through difficulties without retreating, is a wordless vow of commitment. He may not always have the perfect words to soothe or resolve, but his presence speaks, "I'm here and I'm not leaving." Love's silent promises are not fleeting. They are built in the spaces between words, in the constancy of effort, and in the tenderness of shared moments. When a man loves you, these unspoken vows create a bond that feels unbreakable, reminding you that love is not always about what is said, but about what is always shown. Love is a paradox, a delicate balance of opposites that coexist to create something profound and transformative. It is at once the most fragile and resilient force we know, capable of breaking us open yet strong enough to hold us together. When a man loves you, he steps into this paradox willingly, embracing its complexities with an open heart. Love demands vulnerability, requiring him to lower his defenses and risk pain, yet it also grants a strength that cannot be found elsewhere. It asks for selflessness, the giving of oneself to another, but also requires self-awareness and the ability to maintain individuality. In love, there is freedom and belonging, passion and patience, joy and sorrow all woven together into a single intricate bond. This paradox is what makes love so powerful. It is not logical or linear, it is unpredictable, ever-changing, and deeply human. A man who loves you understands that love is both a sanctuary and a journey, a place to rest and a reason to grow. He accepts that love is imperfect and embraces it anyway, knowing its contradictions are what make it real. In its paradoxes, love finds its greatest truth: it is both everything and enough.